Hello and welcome to another episode of The Invitation. I'm here with my lovely ladies, and we are going to have a little happy hour style conversation. This episode, I decided to have a little bit of a theme or a topic, I would say, and it is about how I emotionally lead myself, how I do my best to have radical responsibility with the things that trigger the F out of me, because the F word seems to be a hot topic these days in my world, and just have a deeper conversation about it, because I think that what happens is uh well, being human is messy. That's where I'm at right now. I just, humanness is hard. And during our spiritual pursuit, or during our pursuit to find anything, any information we really want to navigate to help us lead ourselves better, is we're going to run into people that make us feel like we're not good enough, we're not holy enough, we're not pure enough. And what I've come to realize is my greatest teachers and the people that I respect the most in the world have had very complicated lives. They are not afraid of their shadow. They're not afraid to sin. They're not afraid to have conversations about taboo topics, and they lead themselves in a real way. And so, whatever pure means, or whatever holy means, or whatever spirituality means, all of these things are up to us to decide. And we are raised in a lot of different societies and cultures and religions that make us have a lot of shame around the messiness of life. And so lately, I've been sitting with that a lot, because I don't want to put myself in a spiritual box, because I know that I won't stay there for very long, and I'll just be waiting to have more shame because I oops broke the rules, or oops said the bad word, or oops offended somebody, and it makes me feel really bad about doing that. And so the only thing that I really can do is to allow myself to be as present as possible in each day. And when I do that, it's different. It's messy. We're different in different seasons. I recently shared on Instagram, and in the Tarot and Tea podcast, I went into a little bit more detail about how I got canceled from a ladies group, like asked to not come back because I was not a good fit. And it's just such a weird thing when I think about it. But first I was pissed. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna pour myself champagne as I'm gonna begin to recap this, because I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I still actually can't believe it. If I reread everything, I still think I could get to that place. But what happened was, I went through the anger, I went through the sadness. Well, I think I went through the anger, and then I went through the shock, and then I went through the sadness. And once I really was able to nurture myself around the sadness, then is when I was so proud of myself, because I've developed these practices over time. And every single one of you guys on this call has walked through spirit-led life, and you've used the same tools too. I mean, I hope that you do, but I think that some of them are unforgettable, like you remember learning about energy leaks versus energy drains, and experience over evidence, and priority over protocol, and radical responsibility. And these things stay in your mind because they're easy, but they're not easy to implement. They take practice. We don't just come out and think, "Oh, I got all the tools. I'm better now. I'm sovereign now. I'm holy now. I walk and lead myself with grace, and I've got it dialed." Like, it's like, no, life is still messy. We still have our past that we need to navigate. We still have our nervous system that we have to learn to regulate. And we still have relationships that are going to be in our lives that trigger us, because that's how we learn, through relationships. And so the way that I wanted to kind of bring up this topic today is, I just wanted to be human with you and talk about either things that are happening now, or that have happened in the past that kind of you want to reflect upon, and how we can just continue to get stronger in our resilience, our emotional resilience, around not taking things so personal. Because when that happened, I was mad because I felt so rejected. I felt mad because I felt attacked. I felt mad because I felt like I said the F word, and then nobody could look past that and see that I'm actually a decent person. But who gets to decide that I'm a decent person? You know, like what's a decent person? Like I don't kick cats. It's like what I just don't like I'm like I started having all of this dialogue as I'm writing where I'm like, this is all just ridiculous because it's hurting me because why? And it's hurting me because I actually cared a lot about the woman in the relationship that I had. And it shocked me because I felt like there has to be something that I missed along the way to not see this coming. Like it was a shock. I was blindsided. And we do the best we can. I mean, I read energy for a living. So when I get blindsided by something, that makes me not only question myself and my character, but it's like makes me question my business. It makes me question everything about myself because I'm like, how did I not see this coming? And so then we have to zoom out, and then we have to zoom out, and then we have to zoom out even more. And that's when we get into the energetics of like astrology and what is happening right now, and how am me and that person creating something that could be a lesson. And it just made me realize, okay, so what I do every time I contemplate anything is I'm trying to get from the shadow to extract the wisdom to then be able to shine in my own authenticity and be unapologetic about it. So from shadow to shine, that's kind of what I'm working with right now is like from shadow to shine. And this was really shadowy. So when we get hurt, we have to, yes, allow ourselves to tell the story. Don't be mad at ourselves for the anger. Don't be mad at yourself for feeling sad. Don't be mad at yourself for feeling anything. And hopefully you have a support system that can just hold space for you or validate you. I mean, I felt very validated. I had a lot of people that were like, what? You know, very, very supported. Love that. But at the end of the day, like, I don't want to start a war. You know, this isn't, I'm not, I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm trying to learn and grow as I do. So when I really deepened it and looked in the mirror deeply and asked, like, why would I attract this into my life? Where have I not been honest? Where have I been putting myself in situations that weren't in alignment for me? Where can I offer grace for people that might judge me? Where have I judged other people? Like really anything we can always find the mirror. We can find where we've done the same thing. And I think I am being invited into the next phase of my life where I don't put my energy around people or in rooms that don't, that I'm not getting something, you know, that I'm not really leaving feeling fulfilled. And I know the astrology of this person, and I looked at our astrology, and there's a lot of astrology that was opposing. And so where my Mars, or not Mars, where my Saturn and Pluto are, they are opposing her MC and like her career and where she shines the brightest. And so that can be a conflict. Like this is why I love looking at charts, is because we have to know where pain points could come up and where we could potentially have to compromise or have a deeper conversation of like, oh, you know, I'm probably going to trigger you in how I communicate, and it's going to make you embarrassed where you shine. And that's exactly what happened. And so if I communicate in a certain way, then that is never going to be comfortable for you. So do you want to throw me away? Do you want to get rid of me? Or do you want to understand me? Totally your choice. Now, when it comes to us taking responsibility, do you think moving forward, if somebody speaks in a way that doesn't make me feel comfortable, I'll remember this? Absolutely. Because I might want to judge them and I might want to be like, gosh, you know, it really bugs me that they speak this way. When now with this in sort of my um I said artillery earlier this week. I don't know why I want to say that again, but this is an experience that I've had that now I know the energetic signature around, that I can be like, oh, because I took the time to reflect, because I took the time to look in a mirror, I remember this. Do I want to do that to that person? Or can I say, I can see this woman as a whole? Or man, woman or man or child or whatever it is. I can see them as a whole, and I can see that wherever I'm agitated, it might just be an opposition to my energy, but I can accept that because they also bring this to the table. And And I love that. I love when we do the deeper work and we can learn and we can start to better ourselves. But when it comes to taking radical responsibility, that means I am not in this situation because I am a victim of it. I am in this situation because I have a blind spot, or I've ignored something, or I didn't want to speak my truth, or I'm ready to grow. Sometimes it's just the energy is supporting us to bloom in a way we didn't know that we were ready to bloom. And so therefore, here I am in this uncomfortable moment of time, and I am going to own it. And I'm going to say, how am I going to move forward? First, I'm going to feel all the emotions, but how am I going to own the situation as I'm not a victim of this? I am not victimized by this. And then after that, to lead ourselves with emotional elegance, it's not so much about, when I think of emotional elegance, I think sometimes people perceive it as like Princess Diana, like speaking in a way that's eloquent for the world. To me, emotional elegance is, how am I going to understand the emotional exchange on their part and on my part at the highest perspective, and then do what's best for me and my evolution. And that takes some reflection, and I think it takes some understanding that everyone has inner child wounds. Everyone is wounded. Everyone is navigating their lives the best that they can. And we're always permeable to the astrological season. I mean, when you have Mars and Mercury conjunct next to each other or on top of each other in Scorpio, we are always permeable to that energy. So we may be acting in a way that is more sharp than we've ever acted. We may be speaking in a way that's like, that is out of character. And on the other side of it, which I don't think we're quite on the other side of it, I'm still kind of feeling it because I've hired somebody to help me write my book finally, and my writing is so spicy. I'm like, I want to write as much as possible right now just so we can have it, but we might have to tone some of this down later because it is poignant. But that's another thing we have to keep in mind. And so we have to give others grace, ourselves grace, but take into consideration the energetic ingredients that are happening at any given time with anyone else. Uh, but yeah, when I do really think about this, and I think about how other people can take those two things, radical responsibility and leading with emotional elegance, it's a lot it's a time with yourself. And the first thing we want to do is we want to be validated. We want somebody else to know the story. We want somebody else to help us reflect on how we should respond. We want to feel justified in our feelings. But that's not where the wisdom is extracted from. It's when you sit with yourself, when you sit with just yourself and you allow yourself to see it all, feel it all, write about it all, release it all, and then all of a sudden you get it. And what I notice in my life is I have a lot of the same patterns. Like when I really sit with it and I get to the underneath, the underbelly of what it is, our wounds are usually quite similar. Our pains are quite similar. Like we have patterns in our lives. So then what can change? If we keep manifesting things in our reality that mimic each other, then what really can change? And it's our reaction to them, how we nurture ourselves through our reaction to them. And I know a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, my reaction would have been different. And now moving forward, I don't know. I can't see this exact thing repeating itself, because it gave me so much clarity on how many environments I put myself in, like how many circles and how many groups and how many clubs and how much social engagement that I've interacted with in my life. For what? Like I know where my people are, and they usually aren't at those spaces. I usually embarrass myself. Like I swear I'm glutton for punishment. I usually am like, I am so sorry, because I am having conversations that are like this. And I'm not in an environment where people want to talk about this stuff or know about it. It is what is that? And it's probably just me going to a lot of different schools growing up and wanting that belonging, wanting to fit in, wanting to feel accepted, wanting to be liked. When when I come home to myself and I'm quiet and I sit, it's like, but I do belong and I am liked and I do have people. And the conversations that we have, especially like this, are about depth. They're about the ownership of our lives. They're about the intricacies of this energetic dance that we're doing day to day. And that is where I feel alive. But when I put myself in environments where I'm having that, you know what it is? It's because I like to dress up. I think I go to environments where I'm like, ooh, like I want to put on a dress and I want to go feel pretty. I'm like, you know what? Then freaking go in your backyard, Jenny, and have your husband take your photo and put it online. You do that anyway. Like find a way to do it where you don't have to put yourself in an environment where you're walking on eggshells because you're just not quite palpable yet. You're just not quite digestible yet. But isn't that I shouldn't say isn't that because I know like that is part of my purpose. That's part of my astrology. So I'm going to toast you guys. I poured this beautiful glass, but now I'd like to take a sip of it. So thank you for being here. This is going to be a fun conversation, I have a feeling. Cheers. I came outside to have this call and there's somebody water skiing right now. I can't imagine how cold that water is. It has to be so freezing. So, oh, I'd love to open it up and just talk about this because I don't think many people do. I really don't think that we have enough conversations around being what it feels like to be canceled in women's groups or what it feels like to be rejected in women's groups. That's kind of what this is about, but if there's another story that wants to come through, please let it. And how you navigated it or any questions you have around it. I would love to talk. Anybody can just unmute yourself.
Well, I would love to share
Thank you.
my most recent radical responsibility situation. Has to do with my 9 to 5 job. And it took me months of banging my head against the wall, so to speak, to finally understand how to move through it my own way. It's one of those situations where I don't belong. And I'm just been pounding on the door saying, pick me, pick me. I have so much to share. I have so much value. And there's just other things at play. And so I'm able to now just step back and just preserve my own energy and focus on the things that do bring me joy for this particular company. And at the same time, surrender and just release, if there's another opportunity coming my way, then it's going to come my way.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel the power in that?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. It's peace. It's a new feeling for me because, I am from the East Coast and there is a persona, for badass energy back there. And it's not about grace and elegance. It's fighting tooth and nail. When you're in an environment that is primarily male, and even when you go to conferences and stuff, you have to be on. You're always looking for, I have to say the right thing. I want to be taken seriously. And I'm just finding there's a huge shift. Plus, my move to Colorado, I think, was so enlightening for me to see just a very different perspective. And I used to laugh because my daughter and my sister would say, oh my God, sometimes you can just be so harsh. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Until now I experience and I can look back and go, wow, what a gift to be here
Yeah.
and be able to operate in a different way. It's freeing. It's freedom.
Yeah. I've been having a lot of conversations around the East Coast like dialogue, and this is just so interesting, and I love the way the world of spirit works. But one of the conversations was with Lori, and Lori was like, I just pretty much she feels like she's never gonna be what she perceives me, or even Abby. She kept referring to Abby. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna be. And we're like, no, you're not. Like, you're just not. Like, you're not gonna ever be like Abby. Or, there is something about East Coast or Lori, or what you might even relate to it, that it's just a little bit more of a straight shooter attitude. Like, I'm gonna be direct. And then you have other people in, different parts of the country that are walking on eggshells or tiptoeing around and can't say the damn thing. And then after she got off our call and we really kind of went into this, Emma, who had came to the retreat, Emma, who doesn't speak to Lori ever, had sent her a TikTok, and I had posted it on my story, and it was somebody from Boston being like, I just don't know why I can't be ethereal. I want to be ethereal so bad, but like I'm from the East Coast, and if somebody asks me about my day, I'm gonna say, you want to know about my fucking day? It was like the funniest video ever. And so I do think it's like, this is what I'm trying to do with this work, is the idea of what we have in our minds as spiritual or pure is ridiculous. Like, we are spirit. So there's nothing else to say about it. And then what we need to get better at is being human. And so if you lived on the East Coast and you learned some things that feel like Terry, keep them. But if you also learn some things because you were adapting to the East Coast mentality and it was survival,
Yeah.
then you're doing the work to get rid of those. But I don't think all of the East Coast is bad. I actually crave it. Like, I think it's refreshing. It's clarity to me. And so just because I know how much work you've been doing, I think you've prioritized the things that have gotten in the way of your authenticity, and that is what feels like freedom to you.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree because I I do prefer to be direct. I don't like to dance around anything. Like
Yeah.
I think it's honorable. And you just, I guess, have to I guess for myself, I got sun in my face
I
here.
know, me too. The sun's definitely good.
Jeez. And then okay, that's better. Um, yeah, it really is paying attention to the energy in the room too. Um, I've learned so much, and I had shared this with you many, many, many times. Just watching you post your authentic, messy self, I feel it's so heart-led, heartfelt, and you give people permission to, yeah, now I can accept myself, kind of
Oh,
thing. It's been beautiful to watch, and to watch you just continue to just expand into many different things. Always becoming more and more confident.
thank you, Terry. That means a lot, because I tell you what, you really want to get insecure about yourself, try to write a book. So, I'm trying to do the best I can, but I'm having writer's block, and I'm getting insecure, and I'm having all these things come up of like, who am I? Like, who am I to write a book? Who am I to think my stories matter? I mean, really a lot of wounds come up. So you're saying that on the heels of a call that I just had about trying to overcome this writer's block, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I will share, when you joined us on Tuesday or Wednesday,
Yeah.
and the conversation that you had with Loriana, she has come off that call on fire, and she actually finished a chapter, like
Wow.
within 48 hours.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That gave me goosebumps. So Lauren Zoller had me come into her membership to speak about energetics. And I actually was going to speak about something completely different, but then Lauren and I had a call before I went into the group, and we pivoted. And so I ended up bringing up two people and just doing like 10-minute reading, not even like a very brief
Yeah.
reading of charts.
Mhm.
Um, just to kind of show when we really look into the energetic imprint, as all of you guys know, of a chart, you open up doors, you grant permission, as Terry would say. And so this woman I never met, I just kind of riffed on her chart, and apparently lit a fire. So that is very good. Makes
Yeah,
my heart happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was an incredible call. Yeah.
This, you guys, this work, I swear, this work is so complex. Like we have really, we're in the pursuit of so much complexity when we decide to do this work. And there's no finish line. Like there's no like you did it. Like here's another plaque on the wall. Like if anything, there's just more deepening. And so I and I love it. I mean, I definitely love it because I see myself continue to evolve at times. Like right now I think I am in a funky season, but I see it when I zoom out and look at the whole timeline. But we're not taught this, we're really not taught how to navigate this. And so that's why having somewhat of a framework of like, okay, how do I come back home to myself? How do I take radical responsibility? How do I lead with emotional elegance? Like those are the types of things that we can come home to, but really it's still is pretty messy. So thank you for doing it with me. I'm gonna have to move my chair now. Oh, Terry, do you have anything else you want to share or add?
Well, I think for me, after that call, I I want to say you gave me permission, but it's not necessarily permission, but you helped me to understand and you helped me to um I think find more clarity in what my purpose is. And for the first time in the 3 years that I've been here, I'm like super excited. Like it's a lot more clear, and I know what I can do for people now, and I know the direction that I want to get started in. So,
Good.
um,
I felt that when I was talking to you. I
you
really
did,
did.
you
There was
did.
something that clicked because you put your eyes on a chart so many times, and I'm actually glad that you asked me a question because it's that's what like reading energy is. It's always changing. Like you have
Yeah.
free will. So my eyes on your chart today is going to be different than my eyes on your chart in 3 months. And there was something when I was speaking to you, I was like, oh my gosh, like there's something rising in her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've been asking for a long time, and you know, everything that happened in that particular session with us just really brought some things forward for me that I can start to put in my day. The channel journaling you talked to me about. I mean, that was just so on point for my Aquarius airy head and the inner critic.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I've been doing a lot of um, my own work in my projector energy. And so between the two and reading charts and I guess it just all kind of started to come in. And so I feel like I now have some momentum, and it's just going to get better and better and better from there.
Yes, it is. Oh, so good. That makes me so happy. I have like giddiness in my cheeks. Oh, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I love it. Alex, welcome. Welcome to the show. I'm so ridiculous. Oh, okay. I'm making eye contact with a few of you guys. Who wants to talk to me? Who wants to share? Oh, I love this. I love this little happy hour we have.
I'll share.
Yay.
Cheers.
Hello, cheers.
Um,
Happy Friday. This
Happy
Friday
Friday.
it feels so good because the week was not. Well, I shouldn't say it wasn't good, but it feels good today.
I'm loving this story line of the um being able to speak without a filter. And I'm loving it because of my story as a young person, with the religious trauma and being Aquarius also, Terry, the just being my own little human from a very young age and not having that like been received well by girls and young women as I was growing up. So there's like twofold being my own human and then being censored for that in the church. So doing this work and being in these circles and in these spaces has been so healing for me and so validating in several ways. That permission piece that you were talking about, Terry, is huge because it's like, no, all of those things that I was canceled for being, those are actually the things that make me amazing and set me up to actually change this world and to actually be present and to actually inspire and lead other women. And I swear so much like a sailor, because that's me claiming my own body and my own voice and my own space in all of the ways that I was told was not valid when I was younger. And it's me actually stepping into a space of safety and acceptance in my own self, in my own body, in my own spirit, and in my own on my own path. Um, and I really do feel like when I show up and don't censor myself is when I actually hold the most power in who I am. And that is so fucking freeing to be able to be in that space. Um, yeah. Oh, whew.
I know. You guys, I drew the freedom card, the eagle card in the sacred forest before this call, and Terry mentioned that it feels like freedom, and you just were talking about freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Mm. And that, that's not only what we all want, but it's also what we have the ability to give to others. And I think where it gets complicated is at some point authenticity got like confused with being like different and odd, it's almost like it was a misuse of Aquarian energy, if you will. And then people were just trying to be different for the sake of being different, but it didn't have that energetic potency of being authentic. Like this is who this person really is. And we all are multifaceted beings, but you're not trying to just be different and say the F word and be all that you are to get attention or prove a point. I mean, maybe at some point in your life you were because you were testing the waters, and I think that Aquarians love to test the waters in that way. But I think that it's more like just the expression and the energetic expression of who you are. And when I'm cussing, I'm not trying to cuss. I'm not like trying, I'm not, like I'm usually activated by something or trying to be funny. And it's just this, it just comes out of me. And so now, like, not only with ourselves, but when we see other people, we can start to feel into their energy. Like, are they nervous? Is why they're showing up this way? Is this their authenticity? Are they trying to be seen in a way? Well, have we ever wanted to be seen in a way that we were pushing the limit and maybe it wasn't 100% authentic, but it like you can feel into what the need is and love them anyway. Like, you don't have to be best friends with them, but to judge them or to exile them or to, be harsh to them. That's what I would love us to find awareness around and notice difference, but that difference doesn't mean that that person is bad. It's, um but I love to watch you continue to bloom more and more and more into who you are, Abby. It's so fun. It is amazing.
Yeah, it's been fun to be on the journey. And I think like in regards to the swearing, because I've been on both sides of that, like with the story of being in the church for so many years, like for somebody to come along and meet me where I am now and to see and feel the energy of me being free in my own body, um, it's almost like I'm asking them to have compassion for all of the sides of my story. And if they want to support that growth, because me swearing freely is actually a huge sign of my growth as a human,
Mm-hmm.
they get to come along on that journey. So it's actually me asking for compassion, I think, in a
Yeah.
way, in a big way.
Yeah. So good. I think that's what we all really desire. is just compassion and have the ability to give. But there's been moments, this moment that I just went through, I had reflection, and I think I was so deeply emotional around it because of how generous I am with my compassion and how it's taken for granted. And it felt, you know what it felt like? It feels so, this has happened to me in many relationships, but I'll be the one to tell the story. Like, tell the story when you did this, or tell the story when this happened. And one, it's because I have a lot of crazy ass stories, to be honest. But like and then another one is probably my delivery. But when I reflect upon it, it felt like I was like a novelty. Like I'm a novelty to have around, to tell the story, to make people laugh, to have the aha moment, to be the shock factor. And all that is true. But then there's also this other side of me that is deeply compassionate and cares and will sit next to you and hold space for you and want to make you feel better and, you know, be generous. And if somebody's going to bypass all of that purity in me just for me to be a novelty, and then when that novelty isn't received by the audience, to just wipe me clean, that's what's, it was like, how did I miss that? How was I not aware of that? And so anytime that we have lives that have been well lived, when we've lived multiple lifetimes in this one, I think that it's inevitable we'll have compassion because we don't forget. We know this. Even if our mind is like, I'm not going to think about that again. You know, those of you that are somatic, studying somatic work and somatic practitioners, it's like the body remembers. The body did not forget. And that body is, there's no way you're not going to have compassion for people that have walked the path that you've survived through. There's just no way. But also, through that compassion you learn through the hard life we've lived, we adapted some foul language, some humor, and there's some grit in our, you know, we got a little grit. And I think you can feel that, but it's off-putting for people that just don't know. I guess that's okay for now. Thank you, Abby. All right, I know, Michelle, you said you had something to add. Oh, you drew the Eagle Freedom card today too, a few hours ago. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I know, when I drew that card and I was like, that's all I need today. I will stay with that. It has a little Pegasus. Okay, Michelle's gonna be home in 10 minutes. Does anybody have anything to add or a question or share?
Jen, all I'll say is if they can't handle your cussing, they're not going to handle your truths either.
It's true.
I'm like, if you can't handle her cussing, you probably don't want to spend a whole lot of time with her because she's going to tell you something and you're going to be like, I can't believe she would say that to me. So, I mean,
True.
and you
Yeah.
just make me want to fight people for you because I'm like, she's so soft and gentle and loving and kind. And how dare you? Because she says fuck every once in a while. Come on.
Oh, Jamie. Michelle wrote under the Instagram, she's like, lovers of Jenny, we ride at dawn. And that is the funniest thing I've ever read in my life. I'm like, I know that would never happen, but it did. It made me feel real good. It made me feel very seen. So thank you. Oh man. Yeah, Jamie, how you doing after the retreat?
I don't know. I have my moments. I feel like I'm still such a bulldozer lately. I'm working on my bulldozer this week, I feel like.
That's okay.
But, I think it'll always be there a little bit. I can't help it.
Yeah, I do too. I do too, but that's what I love about you.
But Abby, you feel so big. Like her energy feels so big now compared to I'm like listening to her talk and I'm like, I haven't seen Abby in probably months because of this or that, but I'm like, she feels so big and I absolutely love it.
I think in this community, that's a huge compliment. I get Abby's like beaming. Some women would be like, "Excuse me," like adjusting their camera. Your energy. She takes up some space. She had a speaking opportunity, and on stage, she definitely like you filled the stage. I could feel it too.
Oh, I'm so happy she killed it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh my gosh. Okay. What else is present? We're in Scorpio season. We still have Mars and Mercury. Black Moon Lilith is there too. So this is some shadowy feminine energy. So I think that had some of it to do with, what's going on for me personally, but there's been some other stories that have come through that have always, not always, that have all been around women, like the mother wound, the sister wound, just activated right now for us to alchemize, for us to transform. So I think that we just have to remember that Scorpio season is an opportunity to really learn more about ourselves, you know? The shadow, to me, the shadow is just the human experience. Like it's like this is hard, and now we get to question and think and feel on why. Can we get to the bottom of it? And the answer is no, but we can get a little deeper. Alex, how are you doing? Do you have anything to share?
I'm doing good. I was looking at the reason why I drew cards is like every Friday I now have a newsletter that I do, and so I always there was a lot of stories from the week that I was like, I don't know. So I kind of used the cards to help to direct the theme. And when I saw that freedom card too, I was like, oh, that feels good. And I think it's always this reminder of like when we're in the work, it's really easy to like get our blinders on and get like really focused on one thing. And sometimes we forget that we've got to come back up and take that higher perspective and be able to see what that work we were doing was, how it compounds and it affects like the whole bigger picture, right? Because sometimes I think that little detail can suck us in, or that story or that experience, and then it can almost shut us off from everything else around. And then I feel the other really big thing that I've just been noticing is, sometimes it's easier for us to sit in the moments that feel harder versus really allowing us to sit in the moments where we feel like fully alive or something went really amazing. And so for me personally, I've just been trying to find more of those moments and allowing myself to just stay there like a little bit longer before feeling like, oh, I got to go move on to the next thing. And I'm noticing that as I'm doing that, things seem to be compounding a lot quicker, right? And so I think it can be kind of hard in this season, the transition from fall to winter. You kind of want to retract sometimes, or it feels too much because there's just like a lot going on around you. And so being able to just really still celebrate like your own journey and your own victories and your own things helps just keep that perspective alive for you. And then you're better able to discern like, am I really saying yes because I want to be somewhere, or am I saying yes out of, expectation and things like that? So that's just what I've been thinking of as I can't believe October's almost done. I'm like, what happened? How are we almost at the end of the year? And so I was like, I'm not ready for it to be dark earlier and colder, but we have our own seasons that sometimes don't align with the ones outside, and that's the duality of life. So
Mhm. So good. I love hearing you speak. Thank you.
thank you.
That was good. Terry, this reminds me. So remember when we first met and you were like, I don't like fall. Like I have a hard time with fall. Has that shifted? Like, do you feel different now than you once did at this season?
No. This is my time of year where the shit burns down. Literally. At least I've come to recognize that. And I'm trying to step in. I'm leaning this time. I'm leaning in to say, okay, what's gonna go?
I just am gonna try to do this quickly. I wanted to look at your chart. Do you know what's in Scorpio?
On my natal or my transiting?
Natal.
Let me look.
Because I just remember when I first met Terry, that it was a thing. Like it was just like this,
It's a huge thing.
and so it's still a thing.
Yes, hold on.
But
I
we
just-
all have that. Like if we really, really try to track our seasons, like this is why we journal about the moon, the new moon and the full moon.
Well, I'll never forget the very first time. Okay, so Scorpio, this is this is gonna kill you. I mean, it's exciting for me, and for the first time, I understand it. Scorpio is my midheaven. Okay, so now I can step into the fact that I'm going there. I'm going deep now. And the very first time I ever did masterclass with you, it was on inner child. And for whatever reason that night, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I joined, felt very uncomfortable. And for whatever reason, it didn't record.
Oh,
So here I am going, whew, I made it. Then you send it out and go, we're going to do it again. And so I jumped on. And what was happening to me is because I had never done any of this, like nothing was coming through. And you were so gracious trying to help me, Terry. Are you feeling anything? Terry, what's coming through for you? I wouldn't turn my camera on. I barely spoke. And it was the most awkward experience I'd ever gone through. And I'm like, hell no, this ain't an area that I wanna. This feels too uncomfortable. And the other thing I did want to share with you too, after Wednesday's call, I am just like, I am loving the inner child stuff. Like
just
it
took a
just
few
clobbered
years.
me over the head. Like,
Yeah.
this is resonating now.
It's hard. It's not easy. I had actually a new client today, Virgo moon and North Node in Aquarius, and it's feeling is not her forte. Like she's like, but how? She kept saying, but how? I'm like, well, you have to experience it. But can
Yeah.
you explain what happens? Like and I'm like, girl, I love you, I got you, but you just have to trust me. Like you have to surrender because everyone experiences it differently. And please don't put my meditations on 2.0. Like like listen to them in real time. But I love that you're saying this because I do feel that there's no right way and there's no right timeline, but once it clicks, it's like, oh. And
Yeah.
then you know why there was resistance.
Well, and I was always looking for external validation. I would do the whole thing. Tell me how to do it. I just want the rule book. And everybody would resist me and I would get mad.
I know. I know. Yeah. And I probably need a few more rule books in my life, to be honest. I need some framework.
Nah.
Oh my gosh, this makes me so happy. So do you still have all the meditations, like the inner child meditations?
Yes. And okay, so here's the other thing that I have a problem with is consuming too much.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not allowing, and that's the other thing I took from Wednesday, in sitting with you is that I need to devote some time to myself because there's a lot in there, that I can't reach because I'm not giving myself the time to do it.
Yes. It's so true.
Yes, but as you were talking about, spirit-led life, I would love to go back through some of that stuff because I feel like so much more is gonna land.
Oh yeah. And your channel will like not only will it land, but you'll get more information. Like
Yeah,
that's what's so beautiful. Like when I take classes that people that have really open channels, I can listen to 10 minutes, pause it, and then I'm like blasted with the information I need for me from spirit. And so that's what will be beautiful too for you is I
oh,
think that your channel will get more downloads.
I'm asking for that,
Good.
when we were talking and you're like, ask for it, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely what I want.
I'm excited. Ooh, this is gonna Terry with Terry next season. We're gonna be
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's
We'll have a
let's
big reveal.
see. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, we're gonna eventually fall will not be so daunting. I have hope.
Yeah, I feel like so last fall I moved
Mhm, I
into
remember.
my own place. And that was gut-wrenching. That was like I sat in the fire for months, for probably a year. And so this year, it's my job, and it seems to be a pivotal time for me to really pay attention. Like, we've asked you to look at this before, you didn't want to. Okay, so now you gotta. So if I clean things up earlier in the year, maybe it won't be so bad.
Maybe.
I doubt it.
That's what Josie said to me when all this was happening with this women's group. He said, Jenny, what do you tell your clients? If you don't do it, the universe will do it for you. Like, just nonchalant. I'm like, it's not what I wanted you to tell me right now. Like, I don't need you to give me my own medicine. I want you to hold me.
Right. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Michelle, are you ready to talk to us? Yes, you look beautiful.
Oh. I just parked in the sun, so I had
We've been
shining.
fighting the
No,
sun.
people were not driving well. I was like, okay, y'all are in my way. So I'm gonna just pull off and park somewhere. Because I didn't want to slow you guys down either or whatever. So I have a few side notes based on what I've heard. One about Abby becoming so big. I remember very well, very clearly, the very first call I was on with her, and she was having a vulnerable moment, and she was very soft and quiet spoken. And I remember thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, she just needs Jenny so much. I was like, and she just
Aw.
seems like she's hurting, and she's just so. I thought you were quiet and timid. That's changed. She's not timid anymore. So, like, seeing that change, because I just remembered, I just thought, I'm like, oh, I want to hug her. Because you seemed like you were going through something at that time, at least on that call at that time. The other is Terry. Someone lit you on fire. And that is just so awesome to hear. You're just like going a mile a minute and you're ready to go. That's awesome. And the one other thing, Jenny, I swear, I think that our husbands were cut from the same cloth. Mine does the same dang thing. And I'm like, don't throw my stuff back in my face. I'm like, you know that I don't want to hear that right now. And he's like, I know. I'm like, so you're just being annoying on purpose. Got it. All right. Whatever. So in reference to what you've been discussing on the call, it wasn't something to my knowledge that I did. It was just something that I stumbled upon on good old Facebook, and I've been kind of trying to work through all the hurt feelers about it. So I was scrolling through Facebook, just, every now and then I do that, like many, and up pops a post from the band that I was in when we performed at Mishawaka last year.
Mhm.
It's the band that I thought I was in, and they were performing Avogadro's number with somebody else singing. And I was
Oh.
like, ow. And yeah, it was just like this huge slap in the face. I'm like, what the heck? And I mean, I was just rolling through the emotions. I was like hurt and then mad and then hurt and then mad and just rolling over it. And I'm telling Tim, I'm like, what is going on? I was like, I don't even understand. Because I've known all of these people for like, I don't know, 15 years. And it was just it was so, I was so dismissed and felt so canceled. I was just, I felt like it took me back to, I don't know, grade school when you didn't get picked,
Mhm.
or the Mean Girls group when they were making fun of your hair, or whatever it was. It just took me right back there. And I sent an email, and my first one was just a statement, saying, this is what I rolled on. I was like, I guess it's not my band, so not my decision, but ouch, and that's all I said. And then I sent a follow-up because I got mad, and I'm like, I don't even want to hear your explanations. And then I sent another
You
follow-up.
didn't rage on the page. You raged in email and sent.
It was just one, in one sentence. I was just like, I don't need to hear the reasons, because that's where I thought I was, because I was trying to be a big girl, and I was just like, I'm above it. I'm not gonna get mad. And then later I'm like, no, I actually do want to know. I was like, because I do want to know. I was like, if something happened, if something occurred that I'm unaware of, then that would be fantastic if y'all would be grown-ups and tell me. That's not how I said it to them. But I just said, I was like, nope, I do want to know. I was like, I would actually like to know what led to that decision. That was probably, I don't know, 5 days ago, and no one responded. So I'm like, okay. And I'm at a loss. I have no idea
Yeah.
what happened, but I was just so hurt. And I was just like, I was like, it probably shouldn't matter as much, but it's a pretty direct hit.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, and I'm like, Tim's not too happy. Honestly, he's like, I can't believe that they did that to you without saying something, or at least having the respect enough to respond to you. And I'm like, that's kind of the bigger problem that I have. I mean, yes, it was pretty insulting to see that. I'm just like, okay, you finally do something in public that people don't have to pay to go to, and I'm not in it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But it was just more, I just felt so disrespected.
Yeah. So
Like,
this
if you want to
this
have a
was a
band
week
and you
ago?
don't want me in it, fine.
Was
If
this
you
a week?
don't want to have me there, then that's fine. But tell me why. And I guess I'm not gonna get that though.
Can you hear me, Michelle?
Uh, ooh, not
Okay,
very
I'm
well.
gonna talk now, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been trying?
Yeah.
I've got sunglasses on.
I'm gonna mute you, so I'm gonna just pop in here for a second. So there's a couple things. One, I think that this was under the influence of the Mars Mercury. Like this is an intense feeling, and it definitely hit your nervous system, and it definitely brought up wounds. And that's the same as kind of what I went through, and a lot of people are going through. I think where maybe you might have led yourself differently if you really reflected or messaged me, would be to rage on the page and get everything out for yourself and not react or not send anything. And it's so important because we want to get to neutral before we react, because what it is they probably just operated in the way that they wanted to operate, but we create this story like they all sat around and talked about us and decided to cancel us, and we make the story a little bit more dramatic and theatrical than it probably was. And so, but most of the time people do not lead themselves in a mature manner. We can be very self-centered. We're egoic beings, like it's part of being human. And so most of the times when we make decisions, we do not make decisions to hurt other people. We do not even make the decisions to cancel people. We make decisions because we're only thinking about ourselves. And so whatever decisions they made, they were thinking about themselves, and the way it affected you made you think about yourself because it hurts so bad. And so when we can kind of start to vent and process and rage on the page and get to the root of the anger and the root of the sadness, you said, I want to know why, but you didn't ask them or come to them in a neutral place of, I saw this, I have to admit, it brought up a lot of anger and then deep sadness, but I've worked through that, and I've known you guys for a really long time, and I really have happy memories about, the things that we did together and the songs that we sang, and I'm just wondering if this was personal, and if it was, would you mind sharing? Because I'd like to reflect upon it. Or, would you mind sharing with me why I wasn't included in this because it was really hurtful? Leaves a little bit more space for them to be honest than the approach of like, you know, I can see I wasn't included, so what the fuck is the problem? And that energy, it creates more friction. And so they might not respond because they know that then you're ready to come back with more anger. But I think that we manifest these wounds as, let's quote Josie or your husband again, is like, what we're not willing to do, the universe will do for us. And so you might have outgrown that space. You might have outgrown those people. You might have outgrown actually a lot of people in your life because of how much work you've been doing on yourself and how you've been changing from the inside out. So you might not be an energetic match. So if you're not an energetic match because of how much work you've done, you might actually have been the one that pushed them away, but you just can't see that. And then they responded to your energy changing, that they're not a fit anymore. I don't know, but it's something that we have to think about. We have to hit every angle because the immature part of us is like, your fault. But it's like, okay, well, if it's their fault, then there's been a scenario where it's our fault. What does that look like? What does that feel like? If I'm a victim, then what's the scenario where they're actually the victim? What's that look like? What's that feel like? And you ping pong the roles back and forth until you can kind of get neutral enough to have such a bird's eye view where it's like, okay, this lands, this is making sense. And I know that you're a beautiful singer. I know you're a phenomenal singer. But when I think about how much your energy has shifted in the last few years, you might manifest being in a band or in a group that is more in alignment with who you're becoming than who you used to be. I'm going to see if I can, where did you go? All right. I sent you a request to, there we go.
My sunglasses aren't readers. I was like, "Oh, I can't tell what that says." Um,
How does that feel?
I think I definitely like when I was emailing them, I was trying to be, I mean, I don't think anything came off really angry, but they could have construed it that way. They could have taken it that way.
Yeah.
But raging on the page is I'm probably still gonna need to do that.
Yeah, I would.
Because when I talk
would.
about it, I'm still, because I don't know, and maybe that growth thing, and sometimes I think I do have to check myself when I'm around some of the people that I've been around for years. I have to check myself and be like, okay, they haven't been doing this work, so don't expect that reaction from them, or don't expect them to respond that way because they haven't been doing this. And sometimes I do respond and I'll get looks like, why is she is she okay? Why is she acting that way or not acting that way? And I have been getting some of the kind of, side eye where they're like, okay, whatever. But, and I don't know, I was trying to be as mature as I could when I
Good.
responded, but the feeling that I have about it is something I do have to probably rage about, because it wasn't a mature place that my feelings were sitting. It was in the hurt place. It was
Yes,
just in the hurt place. And that's where, like you expect when I have expectations, but I've always kind of been this way where I'm just like, you are a grown ass adult. How about you act like one? Like, if you have a problem with me, grow up, you come to me, you say something. You don't do manipulation. You don't do this passive aggressive crap that just drives me insane, because I can see it a mile away. I'm like, you think you're being all sly, but you're not. It's really obvious what you're doing. It's really obvious what you're saying, or whether it's an insult, whatever it might be, whatever it might be. And I'm always thinking, please grow up, please, because you're driving me crazy.
Okay,
And
I'm going to talk again. I'm going to talk again. Are you ready? Okay.
Yep.
So this is the Libra
take off these
energy. This is
sunglasses.
your Libra energy. This is Libra energy that you're speaking of. And this is why Libras are so funny to me, because they do have that insight, and they are usually hilarious and slightly cynical about it, because they're just like, why can't you just be fill in the blank? Why can't you be grown ass? Why can't you be this? Why can't you be that?
all
And
the
it's
time.
because they spend so much of their life looking at balance, like looking at justice. But what Libras forget to do is like look in the mirror. And so they spend a lot of time looking at what others should do, but sometimes they don't think about what I should do. And so when we think about what I should do, which is the I am energy, the Aries energy, the opposition of, which in your case is your 7th house, is what do I need to do for myself so I am not bothered by people not doing what I think they should do?
Hmm.
What do I need to do for myself so I am not bothered with the thought of what I think other people should do? That is the hardest thing for sometimes when people are stuck in the Libra energy to do, because it feels selfish. It feels foreign. Because you're like, but I know I study other people so well. I see things so clearly in others, but sometimes I don't see it within myself. Sometimes I don't want to look in the mirror too long because I don't want to be a narcissist, God forbid. But that's actually what's needed to balance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a little uncomfy.
I know. It's so
But
uncomfortable.
it
Terribly
does make
uncomfortable.
sense.
This
It
is why
does.
we have wine together.
Well, since I was driving, I've got coffee. It's not as fun. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my goodness. Alex says I'm a Libra rising Aries moon. That resonates. Yeah, that's the balance. That's the work. And it's so darn hard. You guys, it's so darn hard. So mine is with Leo and Aquarius. So Leo is like it's same but different, but Aquarian energy is going to see all and have this innovative idea. And I'm going to be a little bit, blindsided to that. I'm going to be more in my own, like the Jenny show. Which I do not want to tell you guys that, because I'm like, that is not true. But then if I'm coaching myself, I'd be like, bitch, that's true. But it's also part of my purpose. So then it's like, but what if it's part of my purpose? Like, what if, and then you just, you roll with it. But yeah, Aquarian energy to me is other. So that other energy is always going to be an area that I'm going to have to practice at leaning into. I know. I feel like everyone just sighed, like, whew, like, whew.
We have a lot of Libras rising in our group, I think.
There's a lot of Libra energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to wrap this up. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This was a really great, happy hour. We really, I don't know, there was heart expansion, there was energy expansion. I love you all. I hope you have an amazing Friday. Thank you, of course, always for being here and reflecting and sharing your success stories and continuing to grow. This is what we do it for. So,
Thank you.
cheers. You're so welcome. Have a beautiful rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you guys
You too.
soon.